Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My alias is Nicholas Melson, and I welcome you to my podcast where you and I will hopefully smile once again. The purpose of this podcast is to either talk about something good or nice that has happened recently, or just find good things in the bad ones. I want you to keep in mind that I in no way or circumstances ignore pessimistic things. I just want to focus more on optimistic ones. After all, I at least want to enjoy sunsets. And I hope you can too. I once again would like to mention Anchor.fm. I'm not sponsored by them, but I just want to say thank you to this platform for giving me the opportunity to distribute my podcast in multiple platforms, such as Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and hopefully more platforms will be available. But the good news is that the podcast is also now available on YouTube, but I will discuss more about this later in this episode. With that being said, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome and I thank you for visiting. I hope you'll enjoy your stay. If you are a returning listener, thank you for your continued support and welcome back. I hope you also enjoy your stay. Alright, let us begin. Today is the 31st of October 2021. Happy Halloween if you do celebrate it. I hope you enjoy trick-or-treating or at least dressing up in fancy dresses. I usually do that, especially if it falls on a working day. In our company where I work, we tend to have the fancy dresses day, which is actually pretty amazing. And some people do work really hard on that, and we can at least have fun once in a year. I love Halloween personally. It's a good holiday. It's a fun holiday. Gives you an opportunity to practice your creativity skills, and you can dedicate to this as well. But I decided not to do anything this year, simply because the Halloween fell on Sunday, and I usually stay at home during weekends. I would like to just take a good rest, and also to release podcasts. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, maybe next year, depending on when it's going to happen, I'm going to try something out, and I will be able to create something for this special season. Right then, I've actually prepared more topics today because last episode was pretty short, and I do apologize about that, but hopefully I can compensate that by having a slightly longer episode today. So I would like to start with a correction from previous episode. I was talking about my state of bliss, and I have also mentioned that I have noticed a pinch of melancholy, or something I would like to describe as an artistic sadness. And I have mentioned some philosophers that kind of helped me to understand this idea of sadness, and of not nihilism, but the idea of kind of focusing on yourself more than focusing on what's happening in the world. So I've mentioned Friedrich Nietzsche, and I've made a mistake of quoting another philosopher. I called him Arthur Eisenhower, and that was a mistake. His actual name was Arthur Schopenhauer. So he was a German philosopher who had similar ideologies and worldview as Friedrich Nietzsche. Both of these, they have, they practice the idea of self-improvement, or just instead of chasing the world and trying to understand how the world works, Instead, you just dedicate time to reflect on yourself and to go deeper on, your troubles or on your good sides, and just understand yourself more. Um, it's actually something linked to a culture that I have been quite deep into. Uh, Maybe a few years back, I used to describe myself as someone called a doomer, um, because I just simply have given up hope on the world. I just realized that the world is a very, very cruel place, and there's just simply no hope for the future. The society's just gone completely crazy, and we're just experiencing this, the catastrophes created by ourselves, and we just simply cannot find salvation. And I've been trying to change my worldview. I've tried to learn more about, life and more about myself, and this kind of helped actually, because if I just keep thinking about negative things, it will just simply not help me at all. And perhaps if I improve myself, then perhaps I will be able to find a way to improve the world, or at least my surroundings. And yeah, so these two philosophers I've mentioned, they they explore the view of, nihilism and, what doomers have actually picked up on as well. And I'm kind of still learning more about, this area, just to understand exactly what it is, and how it works, and, what to make out of it. And I would suggest, if you guys are interested about the culture that I was in, there's a video on YouTube from a channel called Pursuit of Wonder. The video is called "Who is the Doomer?" Dealing with an Age of Hopelessness. And the creator of this video actually describes this subject much better than I am doing right now. So if you're on YouTube, just find this video, and hopefully you will be able to understand more about this subject. Also, if you are watching, or let's say listening to this episode on YouTube, you can find the link to this video in the description box. But I will just, talk about it a little bit in depth later on. And so I just want to correct my mistake made in the previous podcast. I was kind of rushing things out, and I've also just recently remembered about this because it was something I have left behind. I think I was just busy with other stuff, and I think now since I'm able to, manage time a little bit better now, I can perhaps dedicate more time onto researching that. So fingers crossed I'll be able to do some more research. So yeah, apologies if this mistake has caused a nuisance, but I do hope I have redeemed myself with addressing this. Right, so on to the better news. My podcast is now finally available on YouTube, as promised. So what I did, instead of adjusting my main channel, I've created a secondary channel, which I simply called Smile Once Again Podcast. And if you just type Smile Once Again Podcast on YouTube, you will find my channel. It will have the same logo as it's used on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, etc., etc. So I don't think you will miss it. And I've also just not decorated, but just made some additions to that channel, so you will be able to gain access to other platforms. So you can access those platforms through my main YouTube channel. And I've also opened an email uh, which is simply called smileonceagainpodcast@gmail.com. So if you, instead of leaving a comment in one of the videos on YouTube, if you want to make an anonymous comment, feel free to email me instead, and hopefully this will make your communications much easier. So what I'm planning on doing is, if you want to just leave a public comment, which I can read out during one of the podcast episodes, feel free to leave a comment in a video of specific episode, or the most recent episode, and I will be more than happy to read it out and respond to any questions you have live. Well, not live, but during the next episode. If you want to leave an anonymous comment, feel free to send me an email at smileonceagainpodcast@gmail.com, and just make sure you stress out that you want to make this comment anonymous, and I will still read it out if you want to, but I will just not mention who has sent it, and I will then respond to it as if I'm just answering the question or just reading the comment out. So hopefully this communication will be simple enough for you. I may consider getting other platforms for communications if you want a bit more of a direct approach. And hopefully this will finally give us an opportunity to just catch up with each other and talk about things. So hopefully you will have a more pleasant experience of, just talking, because I think socializing is quite important. Especially if you feel like you want to talk to someone, but you just have no opportunity to do so at the moment. I will try to help you out with that as much as I can. So yeah, that's good news. Definitely is. This is something I've been waiting for, and I've just tried to sort out as much as I could, and thankfully it's working out. So far I have already published the previous episodes onto the channel. I did mention that the episodes were originally recorded and aired in specific dates, so I've made that clear in the description, so hopefully nobody gets confused. But the current episode you're currently listening will be firstly published on Spotify, then it will be spread out in different platforms, and I think during the distribution I will be manually uploading it onto YouTube as well. So yeah, I think this will work out just well, and if there will be any issues, I will try and let you know as much as I can, or as quick as I can. But yeah, from now on, my main source of communication will be YouTube, unless circumstances change, which I will give you an update on as quick as I can. Okay, so on to the next story. There's actually been something that me and my best friend, I'll refer to him as Michael because, his name is Michael. He has kindly offered his assistance in creating the intro theme for my podcast, and I have absolutely enjoyed this sound that he has created. It was just a pleasure to listen to. I kind of worked with him to just make some adjustments, just so I felt comfortable with what I'm working with and what I could just, use for this podcast. Unfortunately, there has been some technical issues, which is why you haven't heard it in this episode. There are currently some copyright issues. Apparently, someone else has used the same sample pack that we have used to compose their song, and because of that copyright, I am worried, and Michael also worries that if we are going to use our melody, it may actually be copyrighted, and I may get in trouble for that. So I don't want this to happen. So we're just currently holding fire until this gets resolved and until we get clear answers. And I do apologize if you heard the chair noises. So let me actually just move a little bit, because I just realized I've been sitting in a very uncomfortable position. So yeah, hopefully by next episode this will be resolved, but if not, I will give you an update. But for now, it's just going to be just a simple audio track with just my voice, and hopefully later on this intro theme will, let's say, brighten up the colors of this podcast. After all, we just want to make it as optimistic as possible, and the tune that Michael has constructed was definitely fitting the optimistic vibes. So I really can't wait to show this to you if we can actually use it. But if we can't, then I will still try and somehow show it without causing too much trouble for whoever has been holding the copyright, should the legalities be on their side. But it's just kind of in the middle of the works, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's that. And last but not least, which is quite strange because I thought that I will be spending more time today on recording the podcast. Maybe it's just I've realized I think I've been talking on a much higher pace than I used to in the previous episodes. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm in a really good mood today. Yeah, I think I'm in a good mood today. And when I'm in a good mood, I just speak freely, I guess. It's not. I don't want to say that the previous episodes were, we're having slight, like a pinch of pessimistic notes. Like I didn't feel sad or anything. I felt really good. Maybe it's just because I think there might have been a lack of confidence. I think this is what's been happening. But I think I'm feeling more confident about working on this podcast. It is the 4th episode now, and I'm currently enjoying the experience of actually working with it. So maybe that's what's been happening. But anyway, last topic of today. As I've mentioned, today's Halloween, and I already said how much I enjoyed and do enjoy this holiday. But I also want to mention that I think just today I have noticed a true signs of autumn actually happening. Of course, it's been 2 months of autumn now, but where I reside, the weather is a little bit shaky. Sometimes autumns can last up until, beginning of October. Sometimes they can be much shorter, but the UK is well known for having lots and lots of rains. But I think today actually marks the true sign of autumn actually falling down on us, because I have noticed a lot of leaves just falling down off trees at once. And it's also been extremely windy and rainy today as well. I think just like when I woke up today, it's been raining. Then it stopped raining, and then a few hours later, when I want to just go out and have a quick walk and also grab something to eat from a grocery store, I have just noticed that not only it's been really, really wet, but also like one of the roads that I usually walk on just been filled with like water and leaves, and the leaves were just different colors, the usual autumn stuff. And I just haven't noticed it earlier this week. Maybe I just didn't pay too much attention. Maybe it's just, I think maybe the hint has become much stronger today. So, yeah, I think as November hits tomorrow, I think November will be the most, like, the strongest month of this autumn, and yeah, this will be an interesting sight to see, I guess. Um, I actually love autumn as a season. It's it can be described as a melancholic season as well, but I personally just enjoy the atmosphere that autumn brings. I especially like rains, especially when I'm inside, so I don't have to go out. I can just hear the rain knocking on the window, especially when you fall asleep. Rain helps me fall asleep really, really well, especially when you sleep in a tent and you in nature, like when you're outdoors. It's just like the tent just hitting like being hit by rain. It's an absolutely fantastic sensation. Although it does make the environment look really damp and wet, and especially if you're in a humid climate, you just like, and when it heats up, it just feels like you're in a sauna. But I mean, I can live with that as long as I just experience the sensation as like raining and just sitting by the window, hearing the raindrops hitting the windows, and you just being busy or not busy, or just using this opportunity to take a break, just sit down, have a warm drink, and just enjoy yourself. I like these moments, and especially I like what I do like about autumn as well is when you walk in the park and just leaves begin falling down, and you just walk through this uh like this fall of leaves. It's a very beautiful sight. Um, yeah, perhaps you guys have experienced that before, and you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, make sure you try it out. Find a park, somewhere in your city or where you live. If there's a lot of greenery, like lots of trees and such, and especially when it's a bit windy, just try to walk through like one of the big roads in the park, and just see when leaves start falling down. It's a cool look. It looks really, really cool. What else I like about summer? Sorry, autumn. I do like summer as well, but we're talking about autumn now. Um, well, apart from rain and falling leaves, um, I think I also like autumn because it's a good reminder that the year is coming to an end. Especially when the year has been really, really bad. Especially the recent couple of years. Not gonna talk about that, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, and it's also a good reminder that December is coming soon, and Christmas is coming very soon. And with the pace the time flies in, Christmas, it will feel like Christmas is gonna come in like a week or so. Just you wait. And Christmas is also a very whimsical season. Um, but yeah, I think autumn is just a good reminder that yeah, everything comes to an end, but when winter hits, it's just kind of like a moment of the year going on standby, and when spring comes in, it's just the year is reborn. So the cycle resets, and everything begins blossoming, and it just lasts for at least 6 months until autumn hits again. And when autumn hits again, everything begins to, well, not wither, but to just fade away until a new year hits. And yeah, it's just a good cycle, I think. So yeah, tell me guys what you think, and if you do watch this on YouTube, feel free to comment your thoughts, or just share your thoughts about anything you want. And yeah, here's to the autumn, I guess. Right. Well, this marks the end of the 4th episode. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as you have enjoyed the previous episodes. And I do hope that you have enjoyed this week and you will enjoy the next week. As I've said, if you want to discuss anything or share some good thoughts, now you have an opportunity to do so on my YouTube channel. It's called Smile Once Again Podcast. It will have the same logo as you may have seen in different platforms. If you want to just leave a public comment, feel free to do so in the comment section in any of the videos or the most recent one. If you want to make an anonymous comment, leave me an email. My email is smileonceagainpodcast@gmail.com. Just emphasize or stress out that you want this comment to be anonymous, so I'm not going to mention your name. I can't wait to finally see your reactions and how you just respond to my podcast and what you think, or just to see your thoughts about anything, really. And I once again thank you for listening to this podcast, and I hope I will see you or hear from you next week, next Sunday. And once again, happy Halloween. Remember to smile, remember to think about good things. Life may be cruel, but at least you can enjoy sunsets. Have a pleasant evening. Goodbye.